What form of death is the scariest to even think about? Burning alive, you suffocate in immense heat and will likely have a closed casket funeral. To make matters worse, burning someone alive in a house or another structure is the easiest form of murder to get away with. Being slowly cooked by a small fire, unlike being set on fire where you die within minutes or being in a burning building where smoke inhalation might finish you off, it could take hours for you to die being slowly roasted over a flame. The blood eagle. It was implemented in Viking times as a punishment, but not often. While you were alive, they would tie you into a guillotine position, slice the skin of your back in half, spread it outwards onto hooks embedded in nearby posts, remove your ribcage, and spread out your lungs along the stretched skin. If you were still somehow alive, you were left to die and slowly rot. Another scary one is the bronze bull. It was used in ancient Greece as a torture and execution method. You would be tied up and placed inside a bronze replica of a bull, sealed in, and placed over a fire, while naked. You would slowly burn to death, and your screams would sound like a bull's roar. Also, death by asphyxiation is really painful, and it gets worse the more drawn out it is. I remember reading about a form of torture where they would tie you up and put salt water on your feet and leave you in a room with a goat. The goat will start licking your feet and it will just never stop until it eventually licks the flesh and skin off until you die. Being tied up and left alone with an animal you can talk or reason with while your skin slowly gets licked off, it gives me shivers just thinking about it. It's gotta be the floating torture chamber thing. They would chain them to floating boats or trees on a stagnant pond. They would force-feed milk and honey so that you shit yourself a bunch. This attracts insects to feed on your floating body. They say some people endured weeks of this due to being kept alive by being force-fed. Getting trapped in a cardboard compactor while it's running. Actually, I think there is one thing scarier than death, at least to me. A disease like Alzheimer's, for example, you could be dying and not even be aware of that. Nursing home deaths, long-term abuse. I've worked in career EMS for a while. What blows my mind is the fact that nursing homes are able to operate the way that they do. They're fucking butchers, man. I cannot imagine being trapped in a body that is too weak that I need other people's help, to sit in my own shit, to be neglected and to have to live out my life for the next 13 to 14 years, on average. We've met people in their 40s who now are in nursing homes for the rest of their lives because they've become so obese or have medical problems and end up having nowhere to go. The states end up putting these relatively young people in nursing homes. Don't get me wrong, some nursing homes are okay. Good ones are ungodly expensive, and bad ones, state or Medicaid funded, are the absolute bottom of the barrel. I personally feel that, anecdotally, that the reason these nursing homes aren't shut down is the fact that there's nowhere else to shift these people to. Everywhere is full. Our state regulators turn a blind eye intentionally. Being trapped in a submarine at the bottom of the ocean or getting stuck in a tight cave that's filling up with water. I remember the first time I had sleep paralysis, I had a terrifying thought that this was what death is like. So your body just stops working but you sit there, conscious, unable to interact with the world for the rest of eternity. Destined to spend your afterlife staring at the inside of a coffin watching the worms come through to slowly feast on your rotting body. Hopeless to do anything, unable to scream for help. Trapped there alone, forever. Crawling through a cave that gets narrower and narrower, pitching downhill. Soon there's a turn and you follow and hoping it will get wider. It doesn't. It tightens up even more, but now you can't go backwards. You spend your last moments of consciousness struggling to wiggle backwards before it fades to black. That's it for me. Death from severe radiation exposure. Your internals melt before you die very slowly. Having your mind slowly and noticeably erode over the course of months or years, losing skills and knowledge you had prided yourself on until even basic tasks become insurmountable. Then you cease being able to care for yourself independently and feel as though you've become a burden to those around you, leading to depression in your lucid moments until you slip back into foggy delirium. When you look at someone, you remember you love them, but try as you might, you're wholly unable to recall most of the memories that bind you, and that torments you. Memory loss and mental decline are my biggest existential fears by far. My heart goes out to everyone experiencing this, or who is a friend or family member experiencing it. I really hope medical science figures out a cure or reliable preventative for dementia and Alzheimer's someday. It's heartbreaking for everyone involved. Dying in a plane crash. Just seeing the land or water quickly approaching and you are helpless. Drowning. Especially if there's no escape, like Titanic type shit. It's not quick, and it's definitely not painless. You're gonna go 10 long minutes without breathing, because your body physically won't let you breathe in water. Eventually you'll suffocate and the panic response will be to breathe and you'll breathe in water. Eventually you'll become too weak to fight for your life and die due to a mixture of suffocation and choking. It's gotta be so painful. I have extremely realistic and vivid dreams, so much that my pain scale is very close to the same in real life. I've been tortured so many times in my dreams before. By far the worst one was the eagle spread. Basically they strap you down chest against the table and saw open the ribs closest to your vertebrae. Then they take those ribs and spread them outwards and exposing your lungs, heart and liver. The pain is atrocious at this point. I was vomiting, in the dream, and close to passing out from just the pain itself. And then they poured the salt. They poured salt all over my lungs and heart. Holy fucking shit, I couldn't breathe and spent the next 15 minutes bleeding out while being suffocated by the salt. It made my lungs spasm and it's the worst thing that has ever happened inside a torture dream. I woke up drenched but with no pain. Gotta say those dreams sure take a toll on my body. I would never wish this upon anybody. Lethal injection. You know you're going to die. You know when you're going to die. The first injection puts you into a sleep, the following injections stop your heart. Now imagine anticipating your death for years, and you spend your final moments trying to fight off a sleep from which you know that you will never wake. Fuck that. Hang me from the gallows, break my neck, make it fast. The worst would be to be invincible and immortal. Everyone dies, the planet eventually dies off and the sun explodes. You are left completely alone, maybe floating through space or stuck on a rock that would be drifting through space for whole eternity, in the dark and cold, yet you're alive.